We're connected to nature. We indeed are nature, and we interface with nature all the time. Our world is now set up in a way where we're always sort of being separated from nature, whether it's, watching television or driving around in your car. There are these things that sort of separate us from the reality that we're part of this world, we're part of nature. And I think when we start getting that back and we can look at it from an internal spiritual place, then, and recognize that this is our home, then I think we'll treat it much more gently.
Right. Yeah.
And I think something else we can do is go out and be part of nature. Go out and go take a walk in the woods, or plant a garden, or go to the beach, or but get out and get involved in nature. And I think when we connect back to it, we recognize the beauty. There's something really good for your soul about that.
I know it must feel so good to be fighting the good fight. The clean fuel, and that's one of the things that the movie brought up, kind of the war between dirty fuels and clean fuels.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting. I wouldn't necessarily call it a war, but it is a competition right now between the clean fuels and the dirty fuels. But I think everybody has an awareness and an understanding that we can't keep on the path of dirty fuels. And oil, is a non-renewable resource. There's a finite amount of it. It's very expensive to extract, and it's causing problems with our climate and causing problems with pollution. So it's not a sustainable way of us to really, power our civilization. And as we say in the movie, energy is really the key to everything else. So if we can move to cleaner fuels, and we know that they're out there, we know that they work, solar power, wind power, there's more than enough energy coming from the sun, okay? So we need to do it, but we just need to really get busy and start doing it now, and not projecting out, we'll get to there sometime in the future.
When you say there's more than enough sunlight to power everything, I thought the movie said that there's more than enough sunlight to power our cars and our homes 13 times over.
Yeah.
That's a lot of energy coming from the sun.
Yep. And we know how to harness it, we know how to do it, we just need to create, environments, economic models and everything else, so that we can move on to that sort of clean and green model.
And the film is so educational. I mean, one of the things I walked out of the film saying was, wow, I didn't know the difference between current sunlight and ancient sunlight. Now explain that to us.
Yeah, well, Tom Hartman, who's in the film, and he's a radio personality and an author, wrote this brilliant book called The Last Hours of Ancient Sunlight, which really informed the movie. And it really talks about how, all the fossil fuels that we use are basically stored up energy from the sun from years and, millions of years ago. Energy that was, that we got from the sun millions of years ago, and then when it's been in the ground, it becomes oil, coal, gas, and then when we extract it, we're extracting that ancient sunlight.
Another thing that's so simple and easy and is the part that I was talking about, we had some interviews with some people from Bioneers.
Yeah.
Explain that to us.
Bioneers is a wonderful organization, and everybody here should check them out, Bioneers.org. They do a conference every fall in Marin in October, so it's coming up.
Oh yeah, we'll be there.
It's great, and what the Bioneers really, what they really look at is they look at how nature has all the answers that we need. Nature runs a perfect system, basically.
Is it called biomimicry? Like, we're going to mimic the way nature does things.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a concept called biomimicry, which is looking at the way that nature produces things and how we can make our industrial processes and things that we build by mimicking the way that nature does them. Which is, one of the interesting concepts of that is that, in nature there is no waste. One thing's, waste is another organism's food.
Right, exactly.
And looking at the way we make things and looking at it as, using that model, we believe that that's, where
like a couple of examples was one of our hardest substances. What is it called again?
Kevlar.
Kevlar.
Yeah.
And the way they make Kevlar is they make a chemical bath,
right.
and they heat it to these extreme temperatures, and then they use all this pressure to get this stuff out. And then if you look at the way the spider does it with the spider web,
right.
And that stuff is how many times stronger than steel?
Yeah, it's
inch per
10
inch.
times stronger than
10
steel.
times stronger than steel. And he didn't use any heat. He didn't use any chemicals. He didn't have any waste. He didn't use any pressure.
Silently in water at room temperature.
I love that.
Yeah.
Silently in water at room temperature.
Yeah. Our industrial system, is a system that it's called heat, beat, and treat. Where we take a substance, we heat it up to extreme temperatures, and then we beat it into, a form, and then we treat it with chemical baths, and that's how we get, that's how we come up with an end product.
Right.
Well, nature does things exactly the opposite.
There's a simpler, easier way.
And that's what the field of biomimicry is studying how does the spider make its spider web, and so how can we learn how to make things like that. And there's companies out there now that are working to take those lessons and put them into manufacturing processes.
Right. There's a softer, easier way.
Yeah.
Do you believe that films can save the world?
I think that films can play a part in saving the world. I think that it's a combination of a lot of things. But film is a very important piece to that. Storytelling. I mean, that's what film basically is. It's storytelling, and storytelling has always played a role in our society, in our culture, to move the debate, to move the dialogue, and I think that that's what film can provide now. Film shows like this one.
We have a mission now to be the hero. I mean, it's almost like Joseph Campbell's, the hero's journey. We've come this far, and now it's time to save ourselves. Save that one life that you can save.
Right. It's the task of our generation.
Yeah.
And I think reinventing sort of the way we make things and do things is our task as our generation to come up with that template, because that's what's going to make the world a beautiful place for our kids and our grandkids.
And we can all be heroes and mentors, and because we've kind of lost that, and we can, how they say, be your own fairy godmother,
Right.
be your own hero. So, well, we're almost done, but I wanted to ask you a little bit about, this is not my area of expertise, but the technical, like the making of the film.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, one of the things that we really wanted to do when making the film was to have it have the lightest impact and lightest footprint possible. So
You're walking the talk.
Yeah. So one of the things that we did was we. A lot of the footage that you see is footage that we got from National Geographic and from BBC and from a lot of different environmental organizations, because rather than us go to the Arctic or go to a rainforest to film things that have already been filmed, we can basically recycle that that footage. And so we sort of created a sort of like recycled theme of, in terms of acquiring imagery for the film, and clearly we went out and shot a lot of stuff ourselves, and all the interviews are shot originally, but that was really a sort of conscious decision that we wanted to have as little impact on the planet as possible, and therefore tap into all these incredible resources that are already out there.
Exactly. Well, unless there's anything else that you thought of during the interview that you want to end with.
Well, I would just say that really encourage people to get involved.
Right.
Go see the movie, tell your friends about it, get involved in the movement, and that this is really, this is our generation's civil rights movement. This is our chance to really make a difference on this place that we, on our home where we live.
And we've been waiting for that. We've been wanting to know. We've been wanting to make a difference.
Yeah, well, let's hear it.
And now it's coming clear how we can do it. So thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you
Brian
very
Gerber,
much.
the producer of the 11th Hour. And everybody, I want to say, keep coming back to In, because it is the only way out of this crazy world that we live in. I'm your host, Tamara Henry, and we'll see you here next time.
Nothing comes from violence,
Yeah.
nothing ever could. For all was born beneath an angry star. As we forget how fragile we are. On and on the rain will fall, like tears from a star, like tears from a star. On and on the rain will say how fragile we are, how fragile we are.